Okay, guys, I am here again. I'm going to be testing this out. Hello, everyone. Eugenia Crock here of Accessible Astrology. I think I might have figured out even how to stream live on Instagram. So I'm trying this again. I was just here. It's 45 minutes past the date time that I said I would start doing this live. So I might have missed the opportunity to talk to all of you about the eclipses in Aries and Libra, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it the old college try. I feel much calmer now. I was very nervous before. So let's see if we can get any of you on here. Let's see what happens. We can get anyone contacted. So I'm going to give it a few minutes to see if we can get anybody on to this stream. And if we can, fantastic. But I am here to talk about, like I said, the eclipses in Aries and Libra. So let's see if we can get this sorted out. Let's give it a few minutes. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Go live. There we go. There we go. All right. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Am I getting how to do this? Is this happening? Oh my. Let's see. Okay. It looks like I figured out maybe how to get on Instagram live while I'm doing this. Okay, we got 4 people here. Fantastic. A whopping 4 people. I like it. That's plenty for now. Anybody, can you hear me? Hi, Gina. Okay. Yes. Okay. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Instagram. We are live on LinkedIn. I just tried this earlier. Hopefully, some of you will come back. I had a panic attack, an actual panic attack live because I don't do this. This, as you all I think know, I'm not a YouTuber. I don't like to put myself out there in this way. But I have over the years created this insane approach to astrology that I have now coined the rising sign method. And it's so life changing that it's time for me to put myself out there. It's time to let the world know a little bit more about who I am, because I have been doing the rising sign method and doing these support groups for 3 years, and I have had such mind-blowing feedback about how life-changing this information can be for people. So it's time that I put myself out there, and I'm here to talk about the eclipses in Aries and Libra. That is my objective today. And I want to just share, I'm going to share with you literally my chart so that you can start to really see exactly how this plays out. Now, the graphics on this aren't super sharp, and if you're on Instagram, then great. Oh, thanks. That's nice for saying the world deserves my information. It's time for me to put my information out there. I guess that's really the key. I've been really, really afraid to do this in this capacity. Some of you who are watching right now might be aware that I've had a podcast, and I had the podcast for like many years. And why I was comfortable with the podcast is it was just my voice. So it was really not nearly as uncomfortable. But when it's about my face going live on like YouTube and stuff, it's just I'm sure many of you understand this, right? Like it's really scary to put yourself out there. And I'm very scared to be doing this right now. I've kept myself really quiet for many years now, my entire career, 15 years, because I have I'm not as good at putting my face out there. So what I'm doing right now is very challenging for me. But my North Node in Aries right now. So I just want to use the astrology so I can explain to you what I'm going through. And you might be feeling something similar based on your rising sign. And that is the whole objective of right now, is that we are in this eclipse portal, right? And this eclipse portal is about releasing things that are Libra. And we're going to talk about that, and moving into things that are Aries. So that can look like being, okay, let me just use my chart as a literal example. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my chart real quick. In fact, let me do, I I don't know how to use this program either. So give me a second. I'm gonna have to stop sharing that for just a minute. I'm gonna pull my literal chart up because I want you to be able to see in real time how crazy astrology is if you can. So let me just pull in a few little items here to share with you. And hopefully this will give you a good explanation. And then I'll be looking at specifically your rising sign in astrology. Okay. So let me try to share this screen again. Um, okay. So this is going to be a little bit hard to see because I can't like use a pointer, I don't think. Because I'm not used to using this. I'm much more used to using Zoom. So I don't think I can like use a pointer. I don't know. Can you guys see me with the can if you're out there, can you see a cursor on the screen at all? I doubt you can. Um I wonder if you could see it on the actual chart. Let me see. Oh, you can. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. We're getting somewhere. Okay, that's good. All right. That's cool. Here we go. You can see it here. Aha. Okay, fabulous. So, so I'm just using my chart as an example. I have Pluto and Libra. So my chart is this one right here, and I'm only showing the nodes in Mars and Venus. So I have Pluto here in Libra. Um, this is where my natal nodes are. That's not hugely important for the purposes of today. And my Mars and my Venus are in Pisces. Okay. So I'm just going to explain this a little bit so that you might be able to understand. Some of you out there are also Pluto Libra individuals. And when we talk about the energy of Libra, it's all about what I do impacts you, right? So I'm doing this thing and it has an impact on you. So because I can see your reaction to what I'm doing, I'm hyper aware of your reaction. That's Libra. Okay. So because of that, sometimes we curate, we try to be a certain person because I want your reaction to me to look good, right? Like I want your face to be like, you know, because if I say something to you and your face is like, then I'm like, oh no, shit, I said something wrong, right? This is the energy of Libra. It is the other individual's response to us. Okay. So the others, okay. So I have Pluto and Libra, like many of you do. So this is people roughly born somewhere between like 1972 and 1983 roughly. Okay. There's like these periods where it goes in and out, Pluto. And so I come from a generation where we are hyper concerned about how you react to me. Okay. It's like a generational issue. So when we talk about Libra in terms of relationships, that's why we say relationships, because it's not just about me, it's about me and you. It's about we, not me, we. And so we were raised by the Pluto Leos. We won't get into the details of that exactly right now, but because of our upbringing and how we were raised, we were programmed with this idea, this ideology that as long as what we did made our parents look good, that's all that mattered. So we were really told, like, oh, do what you got to do, follow your dreams, do what you you do you, boo. But if it makes me look like shit, it's no good. Right? So that's what we were programmed with. So we have it in our souls and our deep, deep consciousness, even in our deep unconsciousness, that if we put ourselves out there and you don't like how, if you don't have a positive reaction to it, we take that really seriously. So we're a generation of people you have not heard from. Okay. Because we're so afraid of how you will respond. Now, I'm here streaming live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram, and I'm very uncomfortable because I cannot see your faces. I don't know how you're reacting. It's intense. So I just tried streaming live like 45 minutes ago and I had a panic attack. So a few of you lucky people got to watch that. And I just had to close down the stream because it's so uncomfortable to put myself out on that many different platforms and not really know how you're reacting to me. Okay. That's Libra. We all have that somewhere in our chart. Okay. None of us get out of that experience. It just happens to be that Pluto and Libra people have it deep, 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 deep all the time because of the messaging we got from our culture and our parents growing up because of their Leo consciousness. Okay. So as you can see, just I'm going to go back to my chart because this is going to make sense looking at your chart. I swear to God, there's a reason I'm showing you mine. So you'll see I have Pluto in Libra. The South Node is in Libra right now. So what that means for me is that I have to somehow get over this, right? I have to release my relationship around needing my creative project to be okayed by you or to be okay by you. So my codependent nature of Pluto and Libra is going through a creative transformation because I have the South Node currently transiting my fifth house. You might also be a Gemini rising. You might also have a South Node lunar eclipse that just happened in your fifth house. I don't know. Some of you out there are Gemini risings. We're going to go through this in each of your charts. But so you can see in my chart, I'm releasing this creative worry of what it is I create and how I present in the world and what I have and haven't created, how that's going to be judged by you. That's what I need to get over in this eclipse and move towards Aries. Okay. So I just described to Libra, and I'm using my own chart to do that. So it's this idea again, it's not just me, it's we. So I know who I am based on your reaction. That's how I know myself. Is if you really smile, then I know I'm doing something right. If you're frowning, I know I'm doing something wrong, okay? Aries is not that. Aries is just this is me without any we. There's no reaction here. There's no need for reaction. There's no awareness of a reaction. You know, when I first started studying astrology, I lived with an Aries at that time. And actually I was good friends with an Aries at the time and all these things. And I'll never forget, but I don't know if I doubt he'll ever see this, but he was a good buddy, still a good buddy of mine. And we shared this like very paper thin wall between our rooms. We lived in this like Buddhist ashram type thing together. And it was an ashram. But anyway. And so he would watch these TV shows and he would laugh. And when he laughed, he would slam, he'd be like, and he'd slam his hand on tables and it was loud. And, he'd eat and, he kept his mouth open, he just did him. He wasn't hyper aware necessarily of how his actions were affecting me. Doesn't mean he wasn't aware, he just wasn't hyper aware. Like, some other people are the complete opposite. Like, they go in another room and like, if someone can hear me, I'm gonna just keep quiet. I'm gonna talk hyper aware that other people will react to what they're doing. Aries in nature just does what it does. It responds to my impulse. You could call it the ego or the super ego in psychology. Okay, there's a lot of different ways you can look at this. So we all have in us that Aries. Okay. So where the solar eclipse is coming, that new moon, great American solar eclipse is coming on August 8th is in Aries. It's the opposite of, or it's the polarity to your response to what I do. It's just, I do what I do. This is who I am. So for me, I came on this live, had a total panic attack because I couldn't see you. I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I'm super confused. I don't know how I'm streaming. I don't know what's being streamed right now. Freaking out. Shut the fucker down because I have South Node moving through my fifth house of my creation. And it's time for me to put myself out there to a new community, the 11th house. Okay, we're going to go through this in all of your rising sign charts. So we're not just looking at mine, but it's just, I'm going exactly through this experience right now. So you might as well learn about it through an example. So the 11th house is like, you know what? I have to put myself out there exactly as I am in community. And because I am older and wiser, because I have been creating a entirely new method to astrology, which I call the rising sign method. I've been in my lab for 15 years, studying, analyzing, going through charts, um, just in my own world, so afraid to put myself out there really because of this Libra stuff, right? So we all have Libra somewhere. I have it strongly because of Pluto there. But, I've been giving this information to people for the last 3 years, and people come to me all the time, and they're like, "This information has, like, changed my life. This is mind-blowing. This is insane. This is that." That if I don't get over my shit, right, about putting myself out there, I will not be able to serve what I have to give to the community that is mine, Aries, 11th. Okay. So I have to assert myself by going live by myself, just seeing some numbers on screens, not having any idea who's watching this. And I just have to say, yo, I can change your life. Like, it's fucking crazy. I'm not like selling you something. I actually have 15 years of like insane information that I can help you with. I've been working on like re-recording content and doing all this stuff and building my own app. Like, we have our own app, our own private community, all these things, right? I've got to tell you about it now. Like, it's time, eclipse season. Okay. So all of you have this going on. We're going to go through it in your charts. Now, where you want to look specifically about you, what makes you different. So there might be some Gemini risings here watching this. They might be going through something similar, but it's going to be different based on where their Mars and Venus are. Okay. So in my natal chart, this is where my Venus is. This is where my Mars is. My Venus is the planet that rules my fifth house. Mars is the planet that rules my 11th house. So, since the eclipses are happening in my 11th and my fifth house, I have to also pay attention to where is my Mars and where is my Venus. Okay. And my Mars and Venus are in the 10th house of work. So, I have to get over my shit, my conditioning from my parents and their buddies, the boomers, the Pluto Leos, we call them, the boomers, right? The boomers who are like, do what you want as long as it makes me look good. Okay. Deep conditioning in my consciousness and my subconsciousness. I'm releasing that with this full moon lunar eclipse that we're kind of in as we speak. So I've got Pluto there. That's why I'm releasing this genetic stuff. I'm releasing this fear of putting myself out there creatively. Okay. Because of that conditioning. I am moving into a more direct position in my community, in a community, 11th house. I'm saying this is what I have to offer. And it's all about my job because the rulers are in my 10th house. Okay. So that's what we're looking at here. Now, again, in this rising sign method immersive, where it's this private community, I teach you all about your rising sign. I went through this with all of your different charts, those of you who were able to attend lives this last week. So that's what I offer you in that community is a bunch of education, but also like, support from me, direct support from me. I can't do that on this live because I don't know who you are. I don't know your charts and I don't know what's going on with you. Okay. So I can't pull up each of your charts and tell you right now what's up. Okay. But we basically get in these groups and I give you a reading every month, right? In addition to like, I don't know, like something like 120 lessons on astrology. Okay. But for purposes of today, because I want you to really think about what is going on in your world during this eclipse season, we're going to go back to, we're going to look at it this way, and I'm going to get rid of Mars and Venus. But you want to pay attention absolutely to where is your Mars, where is your Venus, okay? But we're going to start with what are you transforming out of? So, what codependent nature that lives in you are you releasing? Okay, so this could be as literal as you're releasing relationships. Okay, it could be as literal as that. Like it could be a partnership. in my I'm not releasing my partnership. I'm releasing how I show up in my partnership right now, and I'm taking more independence. I'm becoming more independent in my partnership right now. So all of us are going through that to some extent, right? So we are all releasing this, but more than that, we're all releasing the nature of a codependency that we may or may not have running through our bloodstream. And depending on your generation and your chart and your family and all those different things, it's going to look different, right? Like the millennials are way less codependent, for example, than the Gen X is, right? That's a whole nother conversation. So that's what we're looking at today. Okay, so we're going to start here with Aries rising. And again, you have to know where your Mars and Venus is to know like where it shows up, okay, specifically for you. But for you, you have got that south node currently in the seventh. Okay, so with that south node currently in the seventh, the north node in the first, ultimately, what you're going through right now, Aries risings, is you're going through an assertion of your. It's okay to be big. It's okay to be loud. It's okay to take up space, right? You are an Aries rising. I have obviously a lot to say about that. Check out the rising sign method. Enrollment opening now. I'm doing this so you guys know about it, right? Because I want to help you and serve you. Um, but anyway, so you guys have been going through like a lot. Not gonna, share all that here necessarily, but a lot around your identity. Like your identity has been going through an enormous change. And when your identity goes through enormous change, your work does, your family does, your friends do, everything changes when you have an identity change. Libra risings might be going through something similar to this. We'll talk about that. So for you, you are absolutely releasing relationship patterns that you might feel codependent, okay, with certain relationship patterns. So it doesn't mean you're going to lose relationships or not. That's up to you in your life and what's going on, but it does mean you're going to be releasing approaches to patterns in relationships, like different patterns you take in relationships, okay? Um and really it's really for you, it's like, who are you seriously, and what is it that you are going to say and do to start making that like asserting that into the world, a little bit more loudly, because it's okay to be loud, actually. Okay, for Taurus risings, your big tang right now is that you've got that south node in your sixth house, north node in your 12th. So you are going through a period of time that is very much about your health. I just went through this exact same transit in the last few years, and I had a lot of health stuff come up. Some of you know I had braces and all this like crazy stuff go on with my teeth. So I basically had to release some things around my physicality, my physical self, my health, and then also sort things out with my mental health. That's exactly what Taurus risings are going through right now. So like what what are you doing every day that is dependent on others, and what is it about you and who you are that needs to be addressed and be made more conscious? I think of the 12 houses, the unconscious, and again, all this I teach. um you got to kind of like right now look in the mirror kind of realistically right now. It's just time to look in the mirror a little bit, and see how codependent tendencies might be impacting your health. Things could seriously literally be happening just like with your pets. I know there's a few Taurus risings I know who actually are having some pet issues. Anyway. Okay, Gemini risings, I kind of just went through that with my own chart, but just to reiterate, we have got that south node in our fifth house right now, the north node in our 11th. So a lot of what's going on right now for us is absolutely about getting over our codependency around how our creative things are judged by others. The fifth house is kind of like, I like to call it the house of, what we like to show off to the world. And so, if you're showing off your children or your relationships or your art or your whatever, and you're like, what are people going to think about that? That's the relationship that's wanting to change right now. New creations coming in, new creative projects are coming in. Some creative projects are, being released as well. And then taking yourself to your community and just saying, this is just who I am, right? Kind of like I'm doing right now. Okay. Like this is just what it is, and this is just who I am. Okay. For then Cancer risings, you have got this going on the fourth house Libra, and then North Node in your 10th house. This is all about potentially, codependent relationships at home, right? And we talk about this a lot in your group, um, what that looks like, and just the codependent nature of Cancer risings and the profound nature of it in your charts in general. Again, I talk about this all in these groups, but you're really having to see, why have I made the decisions I've made in my life, and who have I made them for? Has it been for me? Really? Or has it been for someone else? You might want to check out, where do you have Venus? You'll get some clarity there, right? And then that North Node in Aries, then this piece about, maybe you're meant to show up in the world in a very unique and loud way. And that's okay. Work. Maybe every day it's time to admit that you are a big, bold motherfucker. And that that's good. That's fine. That's the destiny you've been given. And what can you do to take that direction at work and every day in your public world? Okay. Um then Leo risings, you have got this going on in your third and your ninth. And, just to say this, but as literal as those two houses are, can be very much just about travel for you right now, like getting a new perspective, seeing new parts of the world, even your own country. We think of domestic travel, international travel here. But this might be literally just, you're just rethinking um your beliefs. What you might be having some things going on with your siblings right now. Maybe what's the relationship with your siblings like, and what do you need to do to kind of maybe stand up and stand up for yourself, and maybe why have you not done that because of relationships with your siblings. That gets, again, more complicated and more complex. We won't get into that necessarily right now, but there is a energy around, it's time to really see a new perspective, and then potentially take that new perspective and make something of it. You might think something different about yourself at the end of this transit. These transits are funny. I find that people travel a lot with those transits, and they have to just go out and see new things and explore new things and have new ideas occur. New thoughts, new patterns. For Virgo risings, you have got this going on in your second and your eighth. So you are absolutely going through a transition around finance, values, very much about what it is you value, what's going on. How do you value yourself in relationships or not? What goes on in terms of that piece of things. And you know, it's time to adult. You got a lot of responsibilities going on with that North Node in your eighth house of adulting, I like to call it. So what have you been relying on others to get you stable? And are you in control of your own adulting world? Do you know where your money is? Are you aware of your bank account, your finances, and so on? And what is going on in your relationships that you might be maybe too dependent on others to like rely on them for money, or you don't speak up on your own needs around money potentially. Okay. So really getting clear on your values and how that then impacts your relationships. Libra risings, you've got that South Node in your first house. So you are going through also a big, big identity change. I could go on this one for a while because, I have a lot to say about Libra risings because you have such a interesting chart. We call it the paradoxical chart. You are also, like Aries rising, is going through a massive change around identity. And a big piece of that for you is that for you, it's like, how do you're so aware of others' reactions. You're so aware of the other. What is it that you need to do to be really clear about what it is you need in relationship? Aries in your seventh house. How to assert your unique needs in relationship and what that's about and what that energy is ultimately doing to serve you, right? So how do you step forward in that sense? Okay. Um, and not you don't always have to be agreeable. I'll just say that. Although it's really lovely that you are for for the rest of us. Scorpio risings, you've got this going on like Taurus risings in the 12th and the 6th. So you're really having to address some deeper unconscious stuff. There's more unconscious things going on for you right now. We've got this South Node in your 12th house. So oftentimes this is about releasing actually codependent, unconscious codependent patterns that you might not even be aware of. Really check out where your Venus is, as I said at the beginning of this video, to know maybe more specifically what that looks like for you. But you have to go in and find out a little bit right now what's really driving you, what's really um, what are these unconscious relationship patterns that you might not be aware of, and what do you need to do to make sure that you are indeed taking care of your health first and foremost, right? So um don't leave it to last minute. Like, what can you do to just make sure that you are not maybe dependent on certain things outside of yourself that you're not be aware of, and then what can you do to really make sure that every day you're doing things absolutely for you. Okay. And then we've got the Sagittarius risings, and for you all, it is in your 5th and 11th. So similar to Gemini risings, except for you, you're going through potential changes with your community, what your community looks like, what your community feels like, all of that good stuff. And really asserting your creative voice, right? So that's a biggie. What are you doing to ensure that you are less dependent on what the group thinks about who you are, less dependent on how the group sees you, and more clear about, no, 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 this is a thing I just like have to do. It's mine. It's a creative pursuit I want to do. And even if it's not maybe received by the community, I have to do this for myself. There's a thing I have to create right now. And that might transform the relationships in my community. I might find partnerships in that community that help me create something, lots of different ways this looks. Okay. For everyone. Okay. And I can only give so much here. Again, I go through this with each of you in these groups much more intimately, of course, because we got our own community, our own app, all that good stuff. So Capricorn risings, you've got that South Node in your 10th house, the North Node in your 4th right now. So releasing relationships at work. So you might have certain partnerships and relationships at work that are, maybe not serving, maybe you're building new relationships at work. And this one is very clear. You've got to be more assertive at home. I could go on about that for like 10 hours of what that means and how to work with that, but you've got to really assert yourself at home. Set boundaries, get clear about what it is you need and want, and make that statement to the people in your world. All right, then we've got Aquarius risings. You've got this in your 3rd and 9th. So for you all, again, this could involve travel like the Leo risings, but you're really going through this period of time where you're just rethinking what it is, your perspectives of the world, what your world perspective is, what your overall perspective is, what you value, what you think is true. You're learning, I'm sure, a lot right now, taking classes, things of that nature. And what is your relationship to knowledge? Have you depended on others to tell you what to think? Are you really clear about what it is you think? Are you voicing it? Are you communicating it? That's the big thing for Aquarius risings. Are you able to say what it is you think and feel and need to communicate, and how much of your thoughts are dependent on others? And how can you kind of release those qualities? And then last and finally not least, we've got the Pisces risings who have got this going on in their eighth and their second, similar to the Virgo risings. So this is again a lot about adulting and relationships in your world that are you might be losing your power to people in unconscious ways that you might not be aware of. And what is it that you need to do to make sure that you're really clear, you're not depending on others to do your adulting for you, but that you're maybe aware of your dependency on others. And then what do you need to do to like make your financial or make your values happen? Like what do you value financially? What do you value just physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all those different things? Are you prioritizing your value and your self-worth, or are you dependent on others to do that for you? Okay. So that is around the wheel. Now, we do have some people here on the live, which is excellent. Is that like a Illuminati symbol or something? um, so you're here. This is great. And I'm like way less insanely anxious as I was before. So I would love to be able to take some questions from you all now. Do you have any questions for me right now? Are there any clarifications you want, based on maybe your chart in particular? What are you thinking and feeling? What's going on with you? I would love to know. This is a great opportunity to leave comments. How are you feeling with this lunar eclipse? Did you have a good night last night? Do anything big for the lunar eclipse? Set any intentions? Did you see anything unfold from intentions and seeds that were planted in the new moon in Libra that were in was I think October sometime? So yeah, so do you guys have any questions for me, comments, anything like that about this eclipse season and anything like that? And if you don't, that's perfectly fine. Um, I have a last minute thought. If I don't have any questions, there's got to be some questions out there, right? If not, this is my last things I want to say about this whole eclipse season, and that is that um oh, here we go. Virgo rising with Jupiter 3 degrees Libra and Saturn 4 degrees Libra thoughts. Loved it. Feeling great. That's so good. Gotcha. I'm so excited that we're gonna see you in these groups again. It's like so hard to plan these groups with people from all over the world. Like I'm constantly trying to figure that out. Okay. So Kristen said something about Virgo rising with Jupiter and Libra, Saturn and 4 degrees of Libra. Kristen, you're just going through like a lot around your values. And are you how much value are you placing on others? How much do you depend on your partners to create your value for you? Literally maybe even provide money to you. And what do you need to do to step up to become an adult? Like, what do you need to do to empower yourself financially? That's probably the biggest thing I'd say to you. Um, can you explain Mars and Venus again, how it's related to the North Node and South Node? So, because the nodes are in Aries and Libra right now, Aries is a sign that is ruled by the planet Mars. Libra is the sign ruled by the planet Venus. I talk about all of this in the core curriculum, by the way, on the website. So you can always check this out um, in our group, on the app, all that stuff. But you want to know the rulerships of all the signs, because what makes you unique is that in particular. So again, I use my chart as an example. I've got stuff going, I've got the eclipses in my fifth and my 11th, but because my Mars and Venus are both in my 10th house, it's all about work for me right now. Like there's a lot of new creative pursuits around work. There's a lot of new community building for me around work, right? So that gives a really specific dynamic element around you and your uniqueness, versus every other person who has your rising sign or every other person on the planet. That's what makes you unique. Well, one of the things. Gina, hi. When can you start to feel the eclipses before the actual eclipse date? I really think it depends, but I don't know. You tell me. I mean, that's kind of for you to know about your own experience. North Node in Aries. I can't tell you what you feel, Libra. North Node in Aries, you can only tell yourself what you feel about this. um, yeah, I don't know. You tell me. Would be my answer. I've been feeling it for a couple weeks, so I'd say like a week. Like I'm very anxious and I have so much creativity pumping through me that it's insane, but it's also like exhausting. What you said at the beginning was helpful to me as Mars, Saturn, Pluto, and Libra, Leo rising, Venus, Aquarius, and always being very self-conscious and feeling different. Um, Cap rising, Venus, and Mars and Scorpio didn't even talk to any coworker. So hold on. Okay, so Ashley just said it was helpful because her Mars, Saturn, and Pluto is in Libra. Um, yeah, so yeah, you're one of those 82, 81 people, I suspect. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of pressure on like what you think like who you think you're supposed to be, right? That's Libra. Like there's just a lot of, well, if you don't like me, then I don't like me. Right? And it happens in marriage all the time, by the way. Like, um, yes, 1982, yeah. Um, it happens in marriage. I've been talking about this a lot lately and thinking about this a lot, but like, I don't know, it's like I did this thing when I met my husband. Um, and then definitely when I got married to him, where it was like, now that we're married, like somehow like I have responsibility over what you do and you somehow might have responsibility over what I do. So it's like a classic example is like I'll act very different at home when my husband's not home, right? Like I'll eat a lot and watch movies. If you're watching this, husband, now you know. Um, so I'm more appropriate when he's home. So I start to lose myself because I'm with someone all the time, right? So I start to lose like my uniqueness and I start to not do self-care, right? I start to sometimes I put his care in front of mine. So then all of a sudden it's like, well, if he says, what should I do? I'll tell him, we'll go do that and then go do that. And you should wear this and you should do this and you should do this. And because you're a reflection of me, right? You're my husband now, right? So what you do is a reflection upon me. So I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm a woman, I dress you, all this stuff, stuff like that. And like meanwhile, then I just don't take care of myself, right? Like I forget to like actually prioritize my own self-care and my own things that are for me and that I need to be good in this world, right? And then you throw in animals and kids and all that and it gets even more complicated, right? And so that's really like if you look at it on a general basis, like all of us kind of face that in marriage and relationships, even with like friends or whatever, just one-on-one relationships where we can lose ourselves and then we get too involved in them and they get too involved in us. And then, like with men and women, as eventually you become his mom and then there's no sex and then it's just like divorce, right? And it's so important that self-care becomes a priority in relationship because if you lose yourself, Aries in relationship, Libra, then what's the fucking point anyway, right? Because you're not just supposed to get married and then it's just all about the other person. You don't just have a child and then your whole life is just about that other person. Maybe for the first 3 years, you have to remain um in your you. As I said, I just heard Tarek talking to the dogs, which he's had to watch the dogs a lot lately because I've been doing me at work. Sounds like a lot of adulting needs to happen. Yeah. Yeah. Good one, Joyce. But like adulting, taking care of you gotta prioritize yourself, or else you lose yourself and you go way too Libra. And then if you do too much Aries, you have no Libra, right? If you're just about yourself, you have no relationship, right? Anyway, it's always about balancing the polarities, right? Emmy just said Sun, midheaven, Pluto, so much pressure on how I feel. I'm perceived, nothing, needing and loving the Aries North Node. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I've ended up overly accommodating in relations and becoming recently and feeling like their mother, which killed all attraction. Yeah, it kills it. Um, yeah, I've been reading about this and I'll talk about this publicly at some point once I get like clarity on like everything. But um, yeah, like the mothering piece or whatever. It's like people are attracted, like when you first get into a relationship, what attracts you to that person? Well, it's a person who's kind of doing their own thing, like loving it, right? And then you get married or you get in a relationship and you stop doing your own thing. And then all of a sudden, like all of that attraction goes away because you're not in your ting jing, you're not in your like essence, you're not in your power or whatever. Um, Aries, because you've now gone into too much Libra, right? So it's all about being able to do both of those. And yeah, and this is absolutely about that. And then of course, very much specifically, it's about that, depending on where you have Mars or excuse me, Libra and Aries, right? So specifically. So, okay, well, I pulled it off. Can't believe it. If you want to watch this replay on Instagram, well, I don't know. I think I can post all these. I don't know. I don't really know how this next part works. This has been a total experiment for me today. I've never streamed live on multiple platforms. It's not too bad. I didn't like it at first, but now I like it. I think I can handle it. Sometimes you just gotta face your fear, get over it, and it all works out fine. Libra ascendant conjunct Pluto with Uranus in first house. Aries, so I'm feeling absolutely exhausted and burnt out, feeling like I need a complete overhaul and of my world, but having no clue where to begin. Well, I suspect the eclipses will show you the way. I don't think you have to worry about that. The eclipses make shit happen. You know what I mean? Anywho, well, thank you all for being here. It has been absolutely lovely to connect with you in this way. This is a series of 8 nights. 8 days. I'm going to be going live every day, leading up to the enrollment of our rising sign method immersion program. Enrollment is open now. So this is me putting myself out there to say, yo, you guys, I have like a very cool community. We are a very cool community. It's a cool spot where you get to hang out with me. You get to be in community groups together, learn, there's 12 lessons on every single house. And then there's 12 lessons on your rising sign, 98 lessons on astrology. So there's just a lot. I'm glad you guys have liked it. Thanks for all the kind comments about this. I hope it's been helpful. And yeah, enrollment's open now. And so go check that out. And today I'm going to do a giveaway every day. And I probably should have done this somewhere in the beginning. But let's see. I haven't worked out my giveaways. So what I've decided to give away today, this is my giveaway. So for the first person who enrolls in this right now, if you go to accessibleastrology.com, you can enroll in this program. And if you do, and this excludes the current members of the community because they're getting a good deal, and I'll be giving them lots of good deals all along the way because they've been with me for a long time and I want to be there, to support them. But if you go by the enrollment, I'm going to give you a reading. The first person who does that right now, I'm going to give you a free reading with yours truly. So go ahead and book that now. I'll do little giveaways for our current community too. I'll do that inside of the app. So stay tuned for that. I'm just going to do a little giveaway here and there as you guys are on the lives with me. So I'm just going to throw that out there to you and we'll send you an email if you're that person. And the next 7 days, I'm going to go live. I'm doing it at different times because I want to try to reach all the different time zones. So there is on my Instagram right now, you can go see that in the stories. I should probably post that somewhere else, but just follow along. Be sure to subscribe to me on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and you'll get things about me going live every day and little giveaways. And then I'm going to just do topics that I hope you'll be interested in every day. So without further ado, thank you all for being here. Thanks for your patience with me having a rocky start to all this. And I hope this has been enjoyable, and so much love to all of you. And I'm excited to get to know you all better and spend more time with you all along the way. So much love.